So we're going to call this meeting to order, and the time is 9:35, November 4th. I'd like to welcome our new executive assistant, Rosie Anick. I want to thank Melody Hazard for supporting our board today in this meeting, and Rosie will sit second chair so that she will learn in real time how the board system works. So Ms. Hazard, will you please call the roll?
Certainly, Bobby. Okay. Bobby Spoon?
Here.
Michelle Bush?
Here.
Charlie Hogquist?
Present.
Paul Kaufman?
Here.
And Paul Lotz?
Here.
Okay.
Great. When we are voting on action items, Ms. Hazard, please state, or when we make a motion or when we're voting, please state your name first, and this will help Ms. Hazard in recording our votes. Moving on to public comment. Ms. Hazard, do we have any public comment today?
No, we have a speaker, but I believe it's at an action item 4.
Okay. And have you advised that speaker that he will be speaking when the action number 4 comes up?
Yes.
Okay, great. Do you have any written comments?
No, we do not have any written comments.
Okay, let's move on to the action items. Number 1, Johnny, staff's recommendation to adopt a resolution allowing the meeting to be held virtually.
Good morning, Bobby. Good morning, board members. Since the beginning of this pandemic in March 2020, we've had to hold our meetings virtually, which has allowed us to meet safely in our private residences and other locations. The law now requires us to pass the proposed resolution in order to continue this practice. That resolution recognizes the continued state of emergency in this state, the dangers of meeting in person, and also the requirements in our facilitation of the public to attend and participate in these meetings as we have. I'll take any questions. Otherwise, we do need a first, a second, and a roll call vote. Thank you, Bobby.
Okay, I'll make the motion.
Paul Kaufman will second.
Are there any comments from the committee on this item? Okay, hearing none, I'd like to call for the vote.
Okay, Bobby Spoon?
Aye.
Michelle Bush?
Aye.
Charlie Hogquist?
Aye.
Paul Kaufman?
Yes.
Paul Lotz?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 5-0.
Great. Thank you. Moving on to number 2, we have Ted. Staff's recommendation to approve payment of the annual supplemental benefit. Is Ted around?
Yes, I am here.
Okay, great.
I just took myself off mute. Staff recommends the board approve payment of the annual supplemental benefit to eligible retirees. You should have our memo in front of you, and there's background that explains the process, including the government code sections that allow us to pay this benefit. And open to any questions you may have.
Are there any questions from the committee? Okay, do we have a first?
Charlie makes the motion.
Okay, and a second?
Paul will second.
Let's call for the vote.
Bobby Spoon?
Aye.
Michelle Bush?
Aye.
Charlie Hogquist?
Aye.
Paul Kaufman?
Yes.
Paul Lotz?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Unanimously. Moving on to number 3. Ted again, staff's recommendation to approve the 2022 drop interest crediting and drop annuity factor rates and to revise the board rules 6.10 and 6.40.
You have my memo in front of you. Staff recommends the board approve the calendar year 2022 drop account interest crediting rate of 0.8% and the drop annuity factor of 2.1% effective January 1st, 2022, and to revise board rules 6.10 and 6.40 accordingly. The memo explains the background for the calculation and the fact that the drop account interest crediting rate is being decreased by 20 basis points.
Okay, that's great. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion, Paul.
Second?
I'll second Michelle Bush.
Thank you. Call for the vote.
Bobby Spoon,
Aye.
Michelle Bush,
Yes.
Charlie Hogquist,
Aye.
Paul Kaufman,
Yes.
Paul Lutz.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 5-0.
That's great. All right, now we're at action item number 4, staff's recommendation to deny the appeal of Fernando Lasaga. And Mr. Lasaga is ready to speak.
Yes, Mr. Lasaga, could you please speak so we can test your audio?
Hello?
Okay, we can hear you.
Mr. Lasaga, I don't know if it's been explained to you, but you have 3 minutes to speak, and Ms. Hazard will monitor the time, and she'll let you know when the time is up.
Okay.
Okay, we can start. You can start now.
Members of the committee, I am here with my spouse to request that you resign my drop membership. I have been badly served by my city department and by the Municipal Employee Association, the MEA. During my crucial drop entry week ending on Friday, February 12th, I was in constant communication with MEA staff concerning my pensionable salary. The MEA staff suddenly announced that someone else would help me. Either of them should have let me know that there was a potential that the engineers would get a special raise. Both of them were on a citywide email Wednesday, February 17, announcing the special raises for the engineers. Fahmi Rakhani is one of the few engineering employees that I saw on the list of those who recently entered drop. He said his disaffection with the department management made him enter drop, but he knew that there was a possibility of a special raise because his division MEA ward in his section at the time and had told him, but he was so disaffected he did not care. I, on the other hand, was having to talk about my drop with MEA general staff because my division's MEA ward, Juan Baligad, mishandled my project environmental document, and suspiciously, he was on an email to me February 9, but not in an email February 16 where new environmental staff had taken over and Juan would no longer work on my project. The point here is that the MEA general staff, like the MEA ward had done, should have told me that there was a possibility of a raise for the engineers. The MEA is required to present upper-level engineering staff requests for special raises to the Civil Service Commission. The MEA had a moral obligation to tell all its members about this potential raise because of its unusual ramification, which is related to something that the media did not mention when they announced the special generous pay raises for all city engineers. Our section senior, Labib Qasim, retired in June 2020 and was in the know about all retirement issues. He told us there would be no more raises for the engineers except for those who signed the engineering plans. This was because there had already been a recent series of pay raises for the large number of engineers who are registered, which means that they have passed a multiple choice open book exam. The compounded raise for these engineers now amounts to 75%. Tell that to the general public. Labib Qasim was not replaced by another senior for over 10 months, and the staff being marked for promotion who replaced him as out-of-class assignments never mentioned the possibility of these raises, and neither did the department engineering management. Secrecy is the biggest weapon of favoritism and workplace discrimination. Drop is being phased out, as it must have issues. It seems the city expects those of us that they have screwed to enter drop. Labib Qasim used to tell us that management have ways of knowing who was on drop. Today, I could show him the way to click deep into the SDCERS website for this extremely valuable information that is not taught at the SDCERS mandatory drop entry seminars. Please consider all these facts in your decision. Thank you.
Thank you. I understand that there will be no staff presentation on this item. Is that correct?
That's
That
correct.
is correct, but staff is available to answer questions as you need.
Okay. Does any member of the committee have a question of staff?
This is Charlie. I have a quick question.
All right.
In the long history of drop, have we ever had anybody who signed their drop contract and then we were able to overturn it or nullify it?
Good morning, Charlie. This is my agenda item. However, I would defer to Johnny or Cynthia if they have knowledge of your question.
Thank you.
I nominate Marcel Rossman.
Thank you. Was that subtle enough? Good morning, everyone. To the best of my knowledge, there has not been a circumstance where we have rescinded drop for these reasons. However, during PSC litigation, which was a litigation process we went through, there were people that had entered drop that were given the opportunity to rescind their drop. Cynthia may have more information, but there has not, to my knowledge, there has not been a circumstance similar to the circumstance of Mr. Lasaga.
Okay, so just to make sure I have it right, the only way we've ever rescinded a contract was as a result of some sort of legal action.
That's my understanding, correct.
Okay.
In the last
I agree.
15 years, yeah.
Michelle, this is Paul. My assumption here is that the rules are pretty clear. Once you enter drop, it cannot be rescinded. I assume the only way that can occur is through a legal action.
The rules are very clear, and they also are very clear in the documents that the members sign, that they are told that they have. You do have a 7-day period to rescind your drop once you sign it, but once that 7 days has passed, then you're not able to rescind your drop.
I have a question for you. The rule is not a board rule. Is that correct? It's actually in the municipal code. Is that correct?
Susan? I'm turning it over to Susan, our attorney, to answer legal questions. Bobby, thanks.
Yes, Bobby, it's in San Diego Municipal Code Section 24.1402.
And is it correct that SDCERS does not have any authority to waive an item that's in the municipal code?
Correct.
So SDCERS does not have the authority to waive, to honor Mr. Lasaga's request today. Is that correct?
That's my understanding, correct.
All right. Has this happened in the past? I mean, just the circumstance where a member has entered drop and then a significant pay raise has occurred. My recollection is a couple of years ago, the police officers received a 20 or a 25% pay increase. So I believe that it's probably possible that this has happened to other members in past years, and it may have even happened to other members with this pay increase that's been, that was given to the engineers and to other members of the other employees of the city. Is that correct?
I would nominate
Nominate Marcel again. Thank you. That is correct, Bobby. So as you're recalling, several years ago, there were a series of raises over the course of 2 years for police officers that were fairly significant increases, up to, I'm doing this off my memory, but up to an over 30% increase over 2 years. And you would have had the same circumstances then. Members have the ability to make the decision to enter drop up to 6 months in advance of actually entering drop. So you definitely could have had people who had made the decision to enter drop and found out later that there were increases. This last round of increases at the city, it was not just engineers that received significant increases. There were other classifications. In fact, I'm doing this again off the top of my head, but we've gotten some data from the city. It is over 50% of city employees that were receiving increases in fiscal year 22. And quite a few of them would have entered drop before those raises were in place.
Now, in my reading of the board rules that were in the board package for today, or in the B&G committee package for today, it says that there can be a hearing at this meeting, at the B&G committee meeting, or it can be referred to adjudication. So why is it that staff elected not to refer it to adjudication or ask us to do that?
Bobby, because in our opinion, there's no issue of fact here. So it's quite clear that he entered drop. He signed the paperwork, and in fact, he initialed, as is attached to the staff report, he initialed that he understood that this is irrevocable. It's clear in the municipal code that's irrevocable, and there's nothing that would allow it to be rescinded at this point that we're aware of. So based on that, he entered drop. We, as a agency, as SDCERS, did not have advance notice of who would receive a special salary adjustment in this case, so it was his choice to do so voluntarily, and we don't see an issue of fact that it should go to adjudication. So in staff's opinion, it's quite clear that Mr. Lozaga's request to rescind drop should be denied.
I see, and also in the board rule, it does say that the claimant must exhaust his administrative appeal process before being able to file a civil action. So in approving staff's request today, this will allow Mr. Lozaga to take whatever next steps he so decides. Is that correct?
Yes, once the board's decision tomorrow would be final,
right.
Then yes, he'd be able to writ that to the Superior Courts if he so chooses.
Okay, are there any other questions of committee members?
Bobby, this seems to me like it's a pretty straightforward case. Our hands are tied on this largely due to the rules, but that doesn't mean that Fernando can't continue litigation or request litigation on this moving forward. Is that correct?
Well, I agree with you, but maybe we should hear from, is that correct, Susan?
Yes, it is. It would be his burden to bring litigation forth, but he could pursue that as an avenue if he disagrees with the board's decision.
All right. So if there are no further comments or questions, I will make the motion. I'll make the first. Second, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Charlie will second.
All right, and now we call for the vote.
Bobby Spoon?
Aye.
Michelle Bush?
Aye.
Charlie Hogquist?
Aye.
Paul Kaufman?
Yes.
Paul Lotz?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 5-0.
All right. Moving on to number 5. Staff's recommendation to waive Board Rule 4.30 for member Jana Mikova will. And I have a question. Marcel?
Yes, ma'am.
Will you explain to me the difference in waiving this rule compared to item number 4? Is it because this is a board rule? It's not memorialized in the municipal code?
Correct, Bobby. The board rules are designed to provide guidance where the municipal code or the plan documents are silent or are unclear. And so that's why we have this board rule that gives us some administrative guidelines on how to process purchase of service contracts. But this is not the timing is not part of what is in the municipal code. So it is the board's rules that determine how purchase of service contracts are administered, and it is the board's option and authority to waive the rule in this case.
Okay, thank you for clearing that up. That was quite that was an interesting time frame to read regarding all of the issues with Vanguard. Not only did they issue the check in the wrong amount once, but in the wrong amount twice. So it really is an administrative issue that I think the member had no control of with Vanguard. And so I would like to make the motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
Second by Charlie.
And I'm sorry, I didn't ask if there were any other committee members that had a question. No questions?
Bobby, just a quick question. What are we actually approving here?
That we're waiving the board.
Got it.
Marcel, do you want to explain that?
So, Paul, specifically what it is the check was finally received about 10 days after the deadline to receive it. And so the board, what we're requesting the board to approve is allow us to accept that check and pay the purchase of service contract for Ms. Will.
Got it. Thank you, Marcel.
Sure.
So we have a first, and did I hear Charlie made the second?
That's correct.
Okay, call for the vote.
Bobby Spoon,
Aye.
Michelle Bush,
Yes.
Charlie Hogquist,
Aye.
Paul Kaufman,
Yes.
Paul Lotz.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, motion passes 5-0.
Great. Moving on. Greg, let's hear this good news about the office lease.
Thank you, Bobby. It's good to see all of our committee members this morning. Staff is recommending the Board of Administration authorize the Chief Executive Officer to execute a second amendment to the existing office lease agreement and approve the cost for relocating our office space. As a way of background, SDCERS leases approximately 29,000 square feet at 401 West A Street, also known as 1 Columbia Place, which includes our boardroom, our data center, and our office space. And our current lease expires in July 2023. So now is the time where you have to start looking around to see, where are we going to operate for the future. So we're fortunate to have new building owners that are very motivated to retain SDCERS as a long-term tenant, and they have agreed to a competitively priced lease for SDCERS to remain in this building, where our current headquarters are. Their proposal addresses SDCERS' key requirements, which include reducing our SDCERS office space. We'll be relocating the office space to the 8th floor, and that's going to reduce our lease amount of space by about 20%. We also want to improve our office space security. We want to leverage existing technology infrastructure. We want to leverage our existing boardroom infrastructure. We want to leverage existing modular work cubicles and office furniture. And importantly, we want to negotiate favorable lease rates. At the onset of evaluating the lease proposals, staff first and foremost wanted to secure a safe and healthy work environment in the downtown area for favorable lease rates. SDCERS commercial real estate broker Cushman Wakefield sought competitive bids from multiple comparable properties in the area. And staff and Cushman Wakefield believe the 401 West A Street proposal to remain in our current building is very competitive and avoids relocation costs such as rebuilding the boardroom and data center, which would come with moving to a different building. The 401 West A Street proposal of $2.85 per square foot effectively resets our lease rate back to the rate that was in effect in 2011 during our original lease term. So the lease amendment also grants us $85 per square foot for build-out costs and is estimated to be sufficient to cover the entire build-out costs. Costs over this would be responsibly paid by SDCERS. SDCERS is responsible for moving costs, which include recabling the computers and phone lines, along with moving our furniture, files, and equipment. It's estimated these costs should be approximately $2 to $3 per square foot, or that translates to about $45,000 to $70,000. The CEO spending authority is $50,000, but it may go over that. Staff is requesting spending authority just in case the property manager, our new owners, finish the build out prior to June 30th of 2022 when the next SDCERS budget becomes effective. Now would be a good time to recognize Marcel Voorhees Rossman, our Deputy Chief Executive Officer, for her work on this project, which started in 2019 when we conducted our RFP for our commercial real estate broker and continued over the past 3 years in evaluating numerous space plans, and multiple lease proposals. I would also like to recognize the efforts by our General Counsel, Johnny Tran, in providing guidance and securing expert real estate counsel as we navigate through the lease amendment process. So in summary, the SDCERS headquarters office lease expires in July 2023, and based upon review of similar available properties in the downtown area, the proposal for SDCERS to remain in its current building and occupy a smaller office space while keeping the current lease space for the boardroom and the data center was found to be most favorable for SDCERS. So staff is requesting the committee recommend the Board of Administration authorize the Chief Executive Officer to execute a second amendment to our existing lease agreement and approve the cost for relocating our office space. I'd be glad to answer any questions that you have.
Are there any questions by the committee?
No?
Okay, hearing none. You have a motion?
I make a motion.
Second?
Charlie will second.
Great. Call for the vote.
Bobby Spoon,
Aye.
Michelle Bush,
Yes.
Charlie Hogquist,
Aye.
Paul Kaufman,
Yes.
Paul Lotz.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 5-0.
That's great. Thank you, everybody, for your work on that, and I believe that you're not moving. Okay, moving on to number 7, Johnny. Insurance overview and staff's recommendation to renew the fiduciary insurance.
Thank you, Bobby. Hello, everyone. Farnaz, I'd ask that you bring up the presentation, if you could. Thank you for that. And while she's bringing up that presentation, I'd like to introduce my co-presenters from our insurance broker who we've worked with for a while, Gallagher. We have on the call James Martinez, as well as Melissa Birdwhistle. So thank you too for helping me out. Because the agenda is so full, I'm going to take lead on this one if you don't mind, and please step in as subject matter expert should I misspeak or a loss of words. Farnaz, can you move the next slide, please? So this presentation is two-part. One, every year I give you an overview of our insurance portfolio, what covers what insurances we buy, how else are we covered, and then the second portion of this presentation is staff's recommendation to renew your fiduciary insurance. So the first step is, what insurances do we have? It's two-part. We have insurances covering us by the City of San Diego, which created SDCERS, and then we have insurances that we purchased on our own. The City of San Diego covers SDCERS employees through workers' compensation, property at our offices through their property liability policy for our building, and also any embezzlement or crimes from the employees through our master crime policy. This arrangement we have with the city is very common amongst retirement systems. Next slide, Farnaz. The next slide covers the insurances that SDCERS purchases separately. I work very closely with James and Melissa, as well as an outside insurance consultant, to take a look every policy period at what are we buying, do we need it, is it the right amount of coverage, is our policy language, exclusions, endorsements all correct? And so this has been years in the making and something that I think we've done an excellent job at. Such a good job, I got an unsolicited phone call yesterday from a retirement system asking about our portfolio as she took a look at what we're doing here at SDCERS. To briefly go over the insurances that SDCERS purchases, we have $25 million of fiduciary insurance, which I will go in more in depth today. $2 million in general commercial liability. We have $1 million in non-owned hired auto insurance for those employees that drive on behalf of SDCERS. We have employment practices liability insurance. That's discrimination, harassment claims of $3 million in coverage. And we also have cyber liability insurance, which has become very, very prevalent amongst retirement systems and public agencies in general. I do want to give a shout out to Chief Information Security Officer Dave Bond in helping us with our cyber liability insurance. The market has firmed up quite a bit, and they're requiring lots and lots of IT security, and Dave was instrumental in addressing the requirement for multi-factor authentication. It was an email. He made it happen within the month. And so it's that kind of teamwork and Dave's commitment to us that allows us to do what we do here at the insurance end of it. So thank you, Dave. Next slide, please. Now we're going to move into our fiduciary insurance. All of you are pretty veteran, but SDCERS owes a fiduciary duty to its members as well as the trust. And so anytime litigation comes our way, it often is in the form of a breach of fiduciary insurance. This is akin to directors and officers insurance in the private industry. We've purchased fiduciary insurance since about 2007 and have consistently renewed that every year. Farnaz, the next slide, please. Just generally speaking, the fiduciary policy covers any loss related to a fiduciary claim. That includes damages, defense costs, settlements, judgments arising out of that. There are standard exclusions for fiduciary insurance, and we list these before you just so you understand that fiduciary insurance does have exclusions like they all do, and cover certain things and don't cover other things. Next slide, Farnaz. This slide shows the structure of our fiduciary insurance. We've had this structure since 2007. We continue to evaluate this structure, and staff and our consultants believe this continues to be the best structure that we have, that we should have, which is $10 million of primary fiduciary insurance, $5 million of excess, and $10 million on top of that excess. That $10 million on top is also a side difference of condition, which James and Melissa, correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I understand this is if the primary, it becomes a non-indemnifiable act, then that side A will step in to cover the claim. We've also currently have a retention or a deductible level of $2 million. Next slide, Farnaz, please. Okay, now we are at our renewal options. The first column there is our current policy, which is expiring this year. And our brokers have done such a great job that the current insurers are offering the same premium as they did last year. That hasn't been the case, so I'm very happy with Melissa and James's work. The premium is $221,632 for the year. We've listed two alternatives there just to illustrate how numbers change. Alternative one, if you see, is a lower retention level of $1 million. Alternative two is a lower retention of $1 million with a split retention level for class actions $1 million and then other claims of $250,000. Staff and our consultant are still recommending that we go with the original renewal, the retention level of $2 million to save a little in premium, because we believe that this is really catastrophic insurance, something that won't cover the everyday claim. It's not worth that premium. And frankly, our insurance program has worked these years very well, and we don't see the need to increase the premium. Other than that, I'll take any questions, but I will need a first and a second and a roll call vote to pass this item. Bobby?
I have a question.
Yes.
So in your slide number 4, it shows the exclusions. Can you give me an example of what it does cover? As
sure.
Like a circumstance.
Sure. For better or for worse, the public retirement systems haven't really lost a claim. We've been very good at defending our cases. What is covered for sure are defense costs, and those are really the heart and soul of what we're purchasing. If you recall, during the pension crisis, individual board members were sued, which means there were multiple lawsuits and multiple attorneys where those attorneys' fees amounted to more than $10 million. So what this insurance, frankly, is, it really is an insurance to cover those defense costs for the individual members as well as individual board members as well as SDCERS.
And Johnny, each year you have us send you a check for some additional coverage or a waiver of something. Can you explain that?
Sure, of course, Bobby. That's not part of this motion. What we're doing right now is just purchasing insurance for SDCERS. But what the primary insurer offers separate than this is something called a waiver of recourse policy for the individual board members. California state law allows SDCERS to purchase fiduciary insurance. However, that law also says that the insurer can seek subrogation from a board member that is found liable or guilty for breaching that fiduciary insurance. So what the primary insurer offers is an individual policy to each of the fiduciaries of SDCERS to essentially stop that waiver of recourse against the board member. That's an individual decision. You pay for that out of your own pocket. That is not an SDCERS expense, as it is not an SDCERS benefit. Does that answer your question, Bobby?
It does. It does. Okay. Does any committee member have any other questions for Johnny? All right, hearing none, I need a motion.
Charlie makes the motion to approve.
And a second?
Paul will second.
Great. Call for the vote.
Bobby Spoon,
Aye.
Michelle Bush,
Aye.
Charlie Hogquist,
Aye.
Paul Kaufman,
Yes.
Paul Lutz.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 5-0.
Great. All right, we're moving on. We're at action item number 8. Staff's recommendation to approve a new master services agreement with SDCERS Technologies for workplace and enterprise computer services. And David Bond has submitted this action item. David, I just have a question. You're leveraging along with the city, is that correct?
Well, the city has created a master services agreement through a competitive process, and they selected SDCERS Technologies for workplace and enterprise compute services. SDCERS does a rider to the city's master services agreement because they get favorable pricing. They have much greater purchasing power than SDCERS does. They're able to get better terms and conditions and pricing. So this is really a city agreement that SDCERS does a rider to join to.
Great. Okay, are there any questions by the committee? Okay, hearing none. Do I have a first? A motion?
I'll make a motion, Paul.
Great, second? Somebody? I'll make the second. Call for the vote.
Bobby Spoon,
Aye.
Michelle Bush,
Yes.
Charlie Hogquist,
Aye.
Paul Kaufman,
Yes.
Paul Lutz.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 5-0.
Okay, that's great. Action item number 9, staff's recommendation to approve a change order with Stagitec for additional application development hours. Michelle Wagner.
Good morning, committee members. My name is Michelle Wagner-Malecki, IT Application Services Manager. In 2014, the Integrated Retirement Information System, referred to as IRIS, became our production pension administration solution. Since then, SDCERS has maintained a support agreement with Stagitec that provides one full-time equivalent for IRIS support. In 2018, an operational best practices review was prioritized and added to the SDCERS Organizational Action Plan. This multi-year project includes the review of 20 business processes and over 75 IRIS system workflows. Each business process consists of reviewing several business processes and meeting with subject matter experts to document and identify procedure and application improvements. The review of all business processes is planned to conclude during the fiscal year of 2023. The purchase of additional application development hours will be utilized to complete IRIS changes identified through this project. This change order includes up to 2,000 development hours to be used through June 30th, 2024. Staff recommends the Business and Governance Committee to approve this motion. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Michelle. Any questions from the committee? All right, hearing none, do I have a motion?
Don, Bobby, just a quick question for Paul. Michelle,
Okay.
how old is the IRIS system, and is this being considered in the future for eventual replacement?
IRIS was implemented in 2014, so I'd say it's still at its maturity. I don't anticipate needing a replacement. It's meeting all of our business needs, and we're just continuing to enhance it for more efficiency.
Thank you.
All right, great. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion, Paul.
Okay, second?
Paul Lutz, second.
Great. Call for the vote.
Bobby Spoon,
Aye.
Michelle Bush,
Aye.
Charlie Hogquist,
Aye.
Paul Kaufman,
Yes.
Paul Lutz.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 5-0.
That's great. We're moving along. Number 10, staff's recommendation to amend the Board of Administration Charter, Board Officers and Secretary Charter, and Board process on election of the Board President and appointment of Vice President. Johnny Tran.
Hi, Bobby. The recommendation you can see with the red lines, we did want to highlight one thing. Staff is recommending that we revise the election of the board president a little bit, that the terms start in May, but the process start in March. Under the current election process, it creates interim or sometimes holdover presidencies, and we think these changes will help fill that gap. Your election of president is squarely within the board's responsibilities, so I just wanted to highlight that and just answer any questions you have.
And this was basically a new process that we developed a couple of years ago, so I think we all anticipated it might need some fine tuning. And so I appreciate that you've done this. And it did get a little delayed last year, it felt like. So do I have a motion to approve?
Paul Lutz, yes.
Okay, and second?
Charlie will second.
Great, call for the vote.
Bobby Spoon,
Aye.
Michelle Bush,
Aye.
Charlie Hogquist,
Aye.
Paul Kaufman,
Yes.
Paul Lutz.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 5-0.
Great. Item number 11, staff's recommendation to amend the insider and personal trading policy, the travel and reimbursement policy, and the confidentiality of member information policy. And that was submitted by Johnny. And as I read the red line version, they really are very non-substantive changes. Is that correct, Johnny?
That is correct.
Okay, great. So I'll make the motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Paul seconds.
Great. Call for the vote.
Bobby Spoon,
Aye.
Michelle Bush,
Yes.
Charlie Hogquist,
Aye.
Paul Kaufman,
Yes.
Paul Lutz.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 5-0.
Okay, number 12, staff's recommendation to amend Board Rule Division 7, Disability Retirement Applications and Hearings. Number 8, which is the annual affidavits, medical re-examinations and hearings. And number 10, the administrative hearings other than disability. And we'll hear from Johnny Tran on this one.
Thank you, Bobby. It's my last item, so I appreciate your patience. We just wanted to highlight one significant change that staff is recommending. These rules relate to the administrative hearings in front of this committee as well as the disability committee and eventually the board. And one thing that we want to address is the timeline or the due dates for reports due to the committees and boards. Right now, the timeline is such that sometimes those reports will be outside of our internal deadlines to compile the material electronically for you to download. In those cases, we've had to email or give these documents to you separately, which has caused confusion and lost documents. So these changes now are just syncing those two processes together, so that way when you download your material, everything is in one spot and there shouldn't be any confusion. Other than that, I'll take any questions.
Any questions for Johnny on this one? Okay, hearing none. Do I have a motion to approve?
Paul makes a motion.
Second?
Michelle, second.
Great. Call for the vote.
Bobby Spoon,
Aye.
Michelle Bush,
Aye.
Charlie Hogquist,
Aye.
Paul Kaufman,
Yes.
Paul Lotz.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 5-0.
Okay. Number 13, staff's recommendation to amend board rule number 2.130, the non-pensionable compensation for PEPRA members of the port and airport, and board rules division 3, membership and reciprocity. And this report was submitted by Marcel, and I have a question. On the red line, the first red line version on page 1, there's only one change, and it says holiday pay and then parenthesis harbor police, and then you cross out in lieu. So does that only relate to harbor police?
Yes, Bobby. So there was a particular type of holiday pay that was only available to harbor police officers. Before it was titled holiday pay in lieu, and in the last salary ordinance, the port changed the language to say holiday pay harbor police to clarify. So it doesn't change anything that we're doing, it's just a clarification.
Okay, great. All right. Any questions by the committee? No, then I'll make the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Michelle,
Second.
Great. Call for the vote.
I'm sorry, who was the second? Michelle?
Michelle.
Thank you. Okay, ready to vote? I'm
We're
sorry
calling
about
for
that.
vote.
Yes, ready to vote. Bobby Spoon,
Aye.
Michelle Bush,
aye.
Charlie Hogquist,
Aye.
Paul Kaufman, Paul Kaufman? Oh, you're muted.
Yes.
Thank you. Paul Lotz?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 5-0.
All right. We're done with the action items. Moving on to our report. Member Services Division, Cynthia.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for reading my board report, which discussed an update to the retirement benefit calculator on our secure member portal. Providing educational tools for our members to prepare for retirement is a key focus for us. And I'd like to thank Member Services Supervisor Victoria Fedelizo and the team for the extensive efforts to improve this very popular online feature. Also like to mention that we will soon be presenting our virtual annual meeting. This will be premiered on our website starting on November 15th, and our theme this year is Today, Tomorrow, Together. And all 20,000 of our members have been invited to view this on our website at any time with an invitational postcard promoting the information. We always want to share what's going on and keep people informed. And the nomination process to fill the open general member seat on the SDCERS board was completed last Friday. So 2 candidates, Thomas Battaglia, and Don Clark have been nominated, and the election will be held December 2nd through 16th. All general members of the City of San Diego, Unified Port District, and the Airport Authority will be receiving election materials at the end of this month with directions to vote online or via phone. Our election vendor will certify the final results, and then we will move forward with onboarding the new board member. I'd like to thank Communications Manager Jessica Maloney for managing this project, which has gone very smoothly. And as this is the last Business and Governance meeting of the year that will go down in history as 2021, I'd like to thank each of you for your time, attention, and service to the board. Your 20,000 members and our staff greatly appreciates you. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Cynthia. That was very nice. And we appreciate your hard work and the work of your department. So thank you for everything that you have done and accomplished during this very challenging year.
Thank you.
Moving on, Marcel, Benefits Administration.
Good morning. Would like to give you a quick update on the unwinding of Proposition B. There haven't been a lot of public changes since the last time we discussed. However, Ann Smith, who is the lead attorney for the Municipal Employees Association, which is the largest employees association union at the city, did post on the MEA website with an update on the status of negotiations. That update reaffirmed what we had already anticipated, and it was also an impetus for us to start up our internal meetings once again and make sure that we are able to handle whatever the city may negotiate. We have been having those internal meetings again. We are confident that we will be able to handle the potential influx of approximately 4,000 new members, as well as the potential purchase of service credit for the time period where they were Prop B employees. So we've scheduled the time to make sure we can make the appropriate changes to IRIS, our pension system, and knowing that we have the ability to handle that information as it comes over from the city. So happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any committee member have a question for Marcel? All right. Thank you, Marcel, for the update.
Thank you.
David, Information Technology.
Yes, good morning. In addition to my written report and with the pending board approval of the ZENSAR MSA action item at tomorrow's full board meeting, I'd like to review the migration of services from ATOS, our current vendor, to ZENSAR. ATOS has been providing workplace and enterprise compute services to SDCERS and the city since 2013. We have two critical contractors that will be transitioned from ATOS and rebadged as ZENSAR employees. That would be Alfredo Nieto, who I think you all know and love, to support workplace services. He will be transitioning to the new contract, as will Eric Cheatham, who supports enterprise compute services, who works more behind the scenes, making sure that the engine of SDCERS IT runs. The current timeline to begin the transition of resources and services is December 1, with the service cutover date set at January 4th, 2022. This aligns with the city's cutover dates. The migration of services is complex, requiring detailed technical knowledge, knowledge transfer, and systems support handoff. I've been working with ZENSAR over the past couple of months to facilitate the process. SDCERS will be issuing a 90-day termination notice to ATOS that will provide a 2-month transition overlap, ensuring that there is no service disruption. I'm happy to answer any other questions about the IT division activities from the board. Thank you.
David, are we going to lose access to Alfredo?
No, Alfredo is going to be migrating from the old contract to the new contract. So he'll be rebadged as a ZENSAR employee. So Alfredo will still be here to help us.
That's a relief. Because Alfredo answers our questions 24/7, which is unfortunate that we do that to him, but we do.
He's more than happy to serve the board.
Well, and he is just a dream, so thank you for reassuring us. Thank you. I don't see see any other staff members that want to give an oral report. Ted, I just wanted to mention that we have an audit committee meeting coming up on the 17th, and it's my understanding that we will, at that point, you will be presenting the annual audit, right?
You are correct. And at this moment, I'm working on both the final draft version, which I don't expect any more comments on, and number two, the compare report that you request every year. So those should be uploaded to OnBase shortly.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you for that. We look forward to receiving it. And I understand that you were again early this year.
As early as I can be.
Congratulations, as always.
Thank you.
And are there any other questions that anyone has on the other reports? And if not, I believe that that's it. Does any committee member or board member or staff have any other comments? There's no closed session today, my understanding.
Bobby, I have a comment.
Okay, great.
This is Charlie. I just wanted to compliment Ted on all his good work, number one, and number two, to tell him that I have a special message from Tanasi to basically not take up too much time.
Thank you.
Bobby, I have a comment, if I may.
Yes, please.
I just wanted to compliment you that this was an extraordinary long agenda from my memory of being here for the past almost 4 years now. And I thought you did just a fantastic job guiding us through it. So thank you very, very much.
Well, thank you for your comments. I appreciate that. And had I known that I was going to be having 13 action item agendas, I probably would have thought twice about accepting the assignment. Okay, well, I think we did good work today. Very good work, everybody. Thank you very much. And with no closed session today, then I believe we have concluded this meeting's agenda and the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
you.
Bye.
Bye.